Hello children, welcome to the next class of biology. In our previous class, we have discussed about the structural details of a flower. Am I right? Yes. I hope you all are clear with the different parts of a complete flower. Today, we are going to see the two main events which are required for the process of sexual reproduction in plants, and they are pollination and fertilization. Let's see about the process of pollination first. It's one of the main events which takes place in the process of sexual reproduction in higher plants. During pollination, the pollen grains from anther are transferred onto the stigmatic region of the female reproductive part, and the flowers should belong to same species. There are two main types of pollination, and they are self-pollination and cross-pollination. During self-pollination, the pollen grains from the anther are transferred to the stigmatic region of the same flower or onto the different flower on the same plant. Whereas in cross-pollination, the flowers which are involved in the process of pollination, they belong to two different plants, but same species. So you should know that the process of transferring of pollen grains from anther, that is a male reproductive part, to the female reproductive part, the stigmatic region of the female reproductive part, we can call that as pollination. The next term is pollinator, and in most cases, there are some agents needed for the process of pollination, and we call them as pollinators. So a pollinator is an agent, and it carries pollen grains from anther to the stigma for the process of fertilization. Pollinating agents can be classified as abiotic or biotic ones. The different abiotic pollinating agents are wind, water, etc. Whereas biotic ones includes birds, insects, bat, etc. The type of pollinating agent, it is depending on the nature of the flower. If the flowers are too small, it can be pollinated by wind. Whereas if the flowers are large enough with enough nectar inside, and mostly they are pollinated by birds, insects, etc. Let's see about pollen and its germination. You know that pollen grains contain male sex cell. Am I right? Yes. The pollen grains are produced inside anthers. On maturation, pollen grains are dispersed, and finally it reaches onto the stigmatic region through the process of pollination. Am I right? Yes. Each pollen grain has two wall layers, an outer spiny exine and inner smooth intine, with two cells inside, a tube cell and a generative cell. Once a pollen grain reaches the stigmatic region of the flower, it starts to germinate. The outer exine breaks at germ pore and intine comes out in the form of a pollen tube. It carries generative nucleus and tube nucleus. The generative nucleus divides into two generative nuclei, and it reaches finally into the ovule of the female reproductive part. We are going to see the structure of an ovule. You know that ovules are present inside? Yes, ovary. And the number of ovules inside the ovary, that may vary from one to many. See, there are many ovules here. And we learned that inside each ovules, egg is present. Am I right? Yes. See, this is a representation of an ovule. And see, this is the egg cell. Each ovule has a stalk, and we call it as funiculus, with an opening and that is called micropyle. The opposite region of the micropyle, we call it as chalasa. And it is covered with the two wall layers called integuments, the outer integument and inner integument. Inside, the embryo sac is present, which is nourished by the nucellus. The egg is present inside the embryo sac. Let's see the structure of an embryo sac. This is the structure of an embryo sac. See, the egg cell is present at the micropylar region. And on either side, synergids are present. See the egg cell and synergids on either sides. That is at the micropylar region of the embryo sac. And at the opposite region, that means at the chalasal region, 3 antipodal cells are present. See, these are the antipodal cells. Then coming to the middle region of the embryo sac, there are 2 polar cells. Later they fuse together and form a central cell. So in case of a mature embryo sac, 7 cells are present and all the cells are haploid. Later these 2 polar nuclei will get fused together and form a diploid central cell. So you should know that a mature embryo sac has 7 cells, whereas at the beginning 8-celled embryo sac is present. And that means before the fusion of 2 polar cells. Is it clear for you? Let us see the process of fertilization in plants. You know that in case of all higher plants, prior to the process of fertilization, the pollination and pollen tube formation occur. Am I right? Yes. And this is a germinating pollen tube which carries 2 sperm nuclei. And see, during fertilization, one of the sperm nuclei and that fuses with the egg cell, resulting in the formation of a diploid zygote. The second sperm nucleus, it fuses with the central cell and forms a triploid endosperm cell, because you know that already in the case of central cell, 2 nuclei are present which are the fusion product of 2 polar cells. Am I right? Yes. And the process of fusion of first sperm nucleus with the egg cell resulting in the formation of zygote, and the second sperm nucleus with the central cell and resulting in the formation of endosperm cell, we have to call with the term double fertilization. So in case of all higher plants, the process of double fertilization is seen. And what happens later? The other cells, that means the synergids and the antipodal cells, disappears. Later, the zygote divides and redivides, which forms the embryo. The endosperm cell divides and forms the endosperm, which gives nourishment for the developing embryo. So after the process of fertilization, the ovule forms the seed and the ovary forms the fruit. See, I told you after the process of double fertilization, the zygote divides and redivides and forms the embryo. The endosperm and that also divides and redivides, which gives nourishment for the development of embryo. Each mature embryo has 3 parts. The young embryonic leaf, and now we call it as cotyledons. The embryonic shoot is called a plumule, and whereas the embryonic root is called a radicle. Cotyledons forms the leaves on germination, plumule forms a shoot, and radicle forms a root when it germinates. So see, this is a transition of flower to fruit. After the process of fertilization, the ovules inside gets transformed into seeds. See here? The ovary forms the fruit. And in most cases, all other parts fall off. But in some cases, the calyx or even stigmatic region, it persists. And that depends on the nature of the species. Hope it is clear for you. Thank you.